Stop procrastinating!
Procrastinating.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another live episode. We have the amazing Daniel with us, and we're going to share some very powerful tips for you guys to stop procrastinating. But before we do that, let's listen to the intro video. Hello, everybody. Welcome to again another episode. And I'm so delighted that we have Daniel Kobryner with us again because this guy has recently run a super powerful workshop that has transformed so many lives. And he has really helped an international crowd of entrepreneurs to basically learn how to stop procrastinating. And I don't know about you guys watching this, but I certainly have been procrastinating on multiple occasions in my life. And it would be so welcome to know what you can effectively do to actually stop that. But before we dive into all of that incredible mechanics, Daniel, for those people that don't know who you are yet, would you kindly introduce yourself to everybody to let the world know how you transform lives on the daily?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, Tjibaria, for having me on your program. So, yes, I'm Daniel Kobryner. I'm French. I live in London. And I'm now a life coach and international motivational speaker. For over 35 years, I've been in international sales and management. I lived in different countries, and I really loved empowering my customers, to have the best relationship. But a few years back, I dived into personal development, and I listened to some coaches talking, and I realized that actually I had been coaching all my life, and that I like empowering people to get the best out of themselves, generally speaking. So I decided to dedicate the rest of my career to helping people living the best life they can.
That's beautiful. And also, I just want to say, personally, knowing how you work with people and witnessing you run that incredible workshop that you did, it's just really empowering. Because I just want to say a few words, because I also know that Daniel can sometimes be very modest, but the workshop that I attended, it was just so powerful. It was really incredible to see how people just came out of their shell and were able to just express and self-reflect. And you can really see a shift that was happening as the people were there in this really incredible seminar. So I also want to say, for everybody who's just tuned in or who's watching the replay, that we have put a gift in the chat box somewhere around this video. You can click on the link. It's a gift to Daniel's recent book that actually helps you also with being able to truly generate success and stop procrastinating and all of that good stuff. But also, when you get the book, you'll actually get a free invitation to his next workshop. So I highly recommend you guys to click on that link and to actually get yourself the book and the workshop. But also, I really want to dive into this thing. So Daniel, I mean, procrastinating, I think every person on planet Earth has probably done at a certain level and to a certain degree in different areas of our lives. But what have you found to be one of the most biggest reasons perhaps of why people sometimes procrastinate? Because I think if people understand better what it is, sometimes it will give them more clarity on what to do about it. So from your expert position and having helped so many people through this as well, what do you feel lies at the ground level or at the origin of what makes us as flawed human beings procrastinate?
Thank you for this question, Tjibaria. And first, I've got to say, I was myself a big procrastinator. And sometimes I was, feeling not well about this. Why? And people ask themselves, are we lazy? Are we, can't we schedule things? But it's got nothing to do with that. Then I realized that. And when the reasons is the first reason is that we procrastinate when we don't have enough
Mhm.
clarity with what we want out of life. This is something which is, you know, we can only do things if we have a really important why. Why do we do
Yeah.
things? What's the purpose?
Hmm.
This would be the first reason. The
Hmm.
second reason, which is so powerful, it's about motivation.
Hmm.
When you have pro- when you procrastinate, again, the motivation is not there. And what is motivation linked to? It's very much linked to us being aligned with our core
Yeah.
values. And this I'm talking about a lot about this in depth. And the third reason would be about confidence. It's how are we confident to go on with our goals, and this is really about taking action,
Mhm.
and taking action is so important. So in a nutshell, and there's much more to say
Yeah.
about this, but when we dive, and this is what we've done in this workshop, and this was absolutely so powerful. Yes.
Yeah, I really like what you say also about the clarity part and having a strong why, because we see the same thing also when it comes to, for instance, sales. And when you really think about it, what is sales? It's effective communication, and it's basically helping people to kind of get a clear understanding of what is going on, how their life can be improved, what could be tools to do so. And as the salesman or saleswoman, you basically help people to move to a better version of their life and help them do that with whatever tools you have at your disposal. But there are so many people that really think that sales is bad and slimy and they don't like it and whatnot. And it usually just comes from the fact that they just don't have enough understanding about it. And I think this is like a common denominator with a lot of different things, whether it is procrastination or whether it is sales or whether it is anything that somehow we don't like or we don't seem to be very active about. It's just simply because we don't have a big enough understanding of it, and perhaps feel like, well, it's not actually really a drastic danger if I don't go in that direction. So I'm still okay. I'm still getting by, even if I procrastinate in this case. And what do you think are some simple, or maybe just one simple technique that maybe sometimes you share with your clients, so that when they kind of have awareness, like, yeah, I want to do something, but I keep pushing it off? One simple thing that they can start doing and taking into their daily lives so that they can actually build that clarity, and so that they actually build that stronger why, so that they can start moving. What would that one very powerful strategy be, or that thing that people can start doing listening to just this podcast today?
Well, they are different, of course, actual possibilities, but it's really about taking the first step.
Hmm.
We have a big we have a big goal. Sometimes it's about, for instance, it's about building new habits
Yeah.
with in ourselves. There's one powerful technique, I've learned myself and I'm using. It's called pairing.
Mm.
It means that basically you build a new habit with something you already
Yeah.
do. Imagine, for instance, in the morning, people speak about building
Hmm.
routines. Okay, imagine you have your coffee in the morning, and but what about if you say, every morning before my coffee, I will take 10, 15 minutes to meditate, to take time with
Hmm.
myself. Or I will do some workouts. Either at home, I will go to the
Yes.
gym, and perhaps it will ring a bell, perhaps. Or, or I will go for a walk for half an hour. Again, or you start by making your
Yeah.
bed. It's sometimes very
Mm.
simple. And in the army, they use it. It's not about how good it's done. It's about building habits. And the more we do that, and the more we repeat these habits, basically we are creating new
Mhm.
paths in our brain.
Yeah.
And then it becomes something natural. So it's about building one habit after the other, and afterwards we say, oh yeah, I can do
Mm.
this. So for goals, it's exactly the same thing,
Yeah.
Chibaria. It's about, okay, sometimes we procrastinate because we are
Mm.
overwhelmed. Oh, I've got this big goal. I want to earn this much in so much time. Right. Okay. the goal is there and it's important to have something there, but afterwards, how do we split it, in goals which are so-called smart
Hmm.
goals, and which are specific, measurable, achievable, and realistic and time bound. So all this is what I'm helping my clients with.
Yeah, yeah. This is a really interesting thing because sometimes I think people might really feel that it's too good to be true that something as simple as making my bed can actually help me in getting more successful. But it is so true. It is so true. It's just like these little things. If you just apply it, or even like making a bit more of a clean desk, and I'm looking at my desk right now, I was like, I can maybe make my desk a bit cleaner, or just like little things that you allow yourself to do. Because one of the things that also really helps in that entire process is that the moment that you do that, you clean something up or you make your bed, it also allows to have that release of energy. You feel much better by yourself. You feel productive. You've basically closed a cycle. And I think that's also something that instantly makes you feel good about the action that you just take, that you get hungry for even taking more action. So, guys, I don't know if you realize the power of what Daniel just said, but start doing that. Like every day, if you can just do something small, like before your morning coffee, just take that time with yourself, or you do the making of your bed, or you do both. You go and do a few exercises. You don't necessarily have to go to the gym if you don't have a gym, but you can do jumping jacks on your spot, like Grant Cardone always says. But do it, because the moment that you do, you will feel better, and that naturally starts the process on getting much more clarity, much more drive, much more excitement and passion for what you want to do in life. So I really love that one. Like this, it's always the simple tips that really make a huge impact as such. And I want to ask you another question, because please forgive me, but I was running a workshop as well whilst you were running yours, and I was only able to attend the final part of it. But I want to ask you this question because I think maybe I have missed it in there. But one of the really big things that I like, and that's why I highly recommend everybody to just grab your free gift and get Daniel's ebook, is in your ebook you also talk about really that getting more clarity on purpose, and figuring out what your purpose is, and therefore feeling like not feeling lost anymore, and really being able to somehow find a reason, and like you said earlier, a why to actually move forward. Because when we have been in a state of procrastination for a long time, and we have been feeling lost for a long time, sometimes this can even have a bit of a numbing effect on us, making us think like, well, what is it even, why would I even go and do this, or what's it worth, or I might fail anyways. And you had some really simple and beautiful ways of explaining that. So I don't know if you went into the workshop as well, but I know you go into that in the book. So would you care to explain a little bit more about that, and how maybe you were able to really find your purpose, and how you help other people to unlock their purpose?
Thank you for this question,
Yeah.
Tjibaria. Yes, I underwent this process, and you see, sometimes we do things, even in our work, or but we realize that it's not us. We do things because others want us to do things, because of pressure, or even the way we choose sometimes to work, a job, a career, studies. It's not necessarily something we wanted to do, but perhaps we wanted to please our parents and they encourage us to do, or some friends.
Mhm.
And sometimes we realize, but it's not us. So the first thing we do, and there's an exercise, and I'll talk about this, of course, more into detail. It's called the Wheel of Life.
Ooh.
The Wheel of Life means that basically you take all the areas of your life, like family, job, finance, spirituality, and entertainment. There are quite a few, and then you kind of measure yourself on a scale from 1 to 10.
Hmm.
And again, everybody does it for themselves. So the idea is really, honestly, assess yourself. Where do you think you are today?
Yeah.
Imagine you are very happy with your finances, it could be 8. But imagine that with your health, for instance,
Mhm.
you are not happy. You think, "Oh, I don't do enough."
Mhm.
It could be 2 or 3. And the idea is, okay, whatever where we are at a certain point
Mhm.
now, and the idea is where can we go in 1 month, in 6 months, in 1 year, and this is where a coach helps you
Mm.
really see the area where you are disconnected with yourself and where you know in
Yeah.
yourself that you need to change, you need to do something, because again it's nothing to do with others,
Mhm.
it's with us. How can we change so that actually we have more energy, we have more power, and that we really align with what we want? So again, to come
Yeah.
back to the question,
Mhm.
Chibaria, the if we realize that we do something which we don't like doing,
Mhm.
or we hang out with people we don't like doing, or we've got to stop. We've got to change.
Yeah.
We owe it to ourselves. My message is in life. It's never too late to make a change at any age. Sometimes people says, "I'm too old. I'm too. I don't know. My weight is too high. I
Mhm.
don't do this." People beat themselves
Yeah.
up. No, again, this comes from our subconscious
Mhm.
mind, which is trying to protect us from changes.
Mhm.
But yes, no, we need to take our power back to make these changes. And there's this very good quote, which obviously I heard you saying as well, but I'm going to
Yeah.
mention it. Is that if you want to go fast, go alone.
Yes.
If you want to go far, go
Love
together.
that one.
And this is and see, in this workshop you were
Yeah.
mentioning, what was really I found amazing, because I really loved it. I loved the energy that,
Yeah.
okay, I had a lot of my friends, I had a lot of my coaches who were
Mhm.
there, a lot of other people. But the idea is everybody started very quickly to support each
Yeah.
other. In the chat you were saying, and people were sharing.
Yes.
And
I
see, the
saw that.
idea is it's about inviting people to join and to express themselves.
Mhm.
And what one point, which is so important, is that in this world now, although we are so connected with social media, I think that people haven't been so
Mhm.
isolated as they've been. And the idea is, where do you find a platform or a community where you can be heard, where you can be
Yeah.
seen, where you can be understood?
Yeah, I love that. This is really, really beautiful. And I also really liked what you said about that it is up to us to do something about it. We owe it to ourselves. And I think sometimes when you go through life, before you know it, you're 1 week further. And before you know it, you're 1 month further. And before you know it, it's 1 year later. And then it's 5 years later. You're like, wait a second, like, what? And that's why it's so important for people to realize, and for us to realize, like every single person, any one of us, to realize that it is up to us to make a change if we really want to live our best life. Because it's one thing to say that you really want all of this change, but it's another thing to actually say, hey, I am going to change, I'm going to make it happen. And change does not mean that you have to become a completely different person altogether overnight, but it does mean that you, first and foremost, you create that clarity and you take the responsibility to make it, and then you start incorporating these small little things that can then help you forward. And I just want to highlight the book again, because guys, if you haven't already clicked on the link, I really recommend you to do so, because Daniel's giving this book away for free. He's giving the workshop away for free. Like he's kind of like Santa Claus in a way, giving away all of these free gifts. But I actually read your book, and I really love the way how you structured it. Everything is really simple. So you're going through the points. They are really practical. It's really actionable. But then also you give these really beautiful examples of different people, and really making those steps come to life, and that you can actually see, like, oh wow, so I can't remember the names anymore, but Mary does it this way and John does it this way. Or giving these real life examples was really one of the things that stood out for me so much, because you make things come to life for people, and it therefore becomes so much more easy and so much more real to start implementing it, and to realize, hey, wait a second, yeah, I can resonate with Mary, or I can resonate with John. And then people can start taking those habits on, and before you know it, once you finish the book, it's like, hey, wait a second, I've actually made some change already. And I think that is really, really incredible, and beautiful, just the simplicity of things. And this is something that matters a lot for us too, because it's always like actually quite simple if you look at what needs to happen, but it's just that we feel some resistance towards it. So my next question for you is, whenever you work with your clients that are people from all walks of life, and especially also a lot of professional people, like that are coaches or speakers or whatnot, but like every walk of life you've been able to serve, what I was wondering is, what would you say if people really want it on the one hand, but they feel such strong resistance, and they're like I want to, but they're almost like in their own cocoon, and they're unable to come out. What do you do? Like, obviously you've given amazing tips already that would obviously be helpful, but when they're in their mind and they're thinking like, yeah, I really want to, but what would you say to those buts for them to stop procrastinating?
Well, it's really about taking action, Tjibaria. And one thing I'd like just to point out, which is very important, is there's a difference between what is called our conscious mind and our unconscious
Mm,
mind. Consciously, we might be able to voice out, yes, I want to, I want to lose weight, or I want to have this job, or I want to find this new partner. Okay, but what happens is, what we don't see is 95% of our thoughts, they are
mm,
unconscious. It's like a program which is running with
yes.
us, which we learn, as children. As children, when we are born, we are like a blank canvas.
Hmm.
But afterwards, we learn, and when we do everything we like, yesterday doesn't exist, tomorrow doesn't exist. Now we play, we do, we fall, we go on a bicycle, we fall for the first time, we cry, and then we go back on. We've got no
Yeah.
fears. But afterwards, what happens is, with education, with our parents, with the environment,
Hmm.
with friends, with school and church, or we are being taught things. Oh, you should do
Hmm.
this, you should not do that. Sometimes, because as children we take everything in without any filter. Imagine that somebody, you are 4 years old, and you do something, you, I don't know, a drawing, and somebody says, oh, it's not nice, oh, you can't do
Hmm.
this. So then you start feeling an emotion, and then as a child you believe it. And what happens is that, you know even without knowing, it's going to be in your subconscious.
Yeah.
So you are going to repeat patterns all your life. And so it's very much about, we create limiting beliefs in
Hmm.
ourselves. And the idea is how, when people want to transform, the idea is to get rid of them. It means to
Hmm.
replace these limiting beliefs by empowering beliefs. We've got an old habit. How can we change it? Are we still the person we were in the past? And as soon as we start doing it, and this goes by taking action,
Yeah.
Tjibaria, which obviously very familiar theme
Yeah.
with, and taking action in one changes,
Hmm.
of course. And then as soon as we start doing it, as we were saying before, things happen, because we are getting back confidence in ourselves. We are taking our power back, and all of a sudden we see the world completely
Yes.
different, because the way we see the world, and even we interact with others, it's a complete mirror of
Yeah.
ourselves. And people don't always realize. I didn't,
Hmm.
before I was coached, I did. And now I understand things differently. I transformed a lot.
Hmm.
And it's why I'm so happy to be able to help people transforming their
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah. And also, I just want to say it again. Sometimes I may sound like a broken record, but I do want to say that it's so beautiful to see the passion that you have, and having actually witnessed your workshop, and just to see the people there. Like, you had this beautiful crowd, and the people were so super happy. And again, I only came in halfway through, but you just saw the people were like, "Ah," and then, well, like expressing themselves, and self-reflecting, and the comments that were left, and the breakthroughs that were happening just in a 1.5 hour or 2 hour workshop. It was really mind-blowing, and that's also the reason why I was really, really excited to have you on the show today, because I think you really have a gift of empowering people. You're someone who really means it with all your heart, and you just care about your clients and your people, your community, with unwavering love and passion. And I just think that's something so needed in the world. So that's why I wholeheartedly recommend people to download Daniel's ebook, to come to his next workshop, because this guy is a life changer. And I very much feel super blessed to have witnessed that, and that we are working together, and we're just like, it's super amazing. Before we finish, I want to ask you this. And I think this is maybe like a different type of style of question, but what would you say about your own life, and then reflecting it back to others who may face the same? You have had an extraordinary career where you have been, working in like one of the highest levels, and traveling around the world, leading teams and everything. um, and then you discovered self-development, and you realized that that was the passion that actually, is what's guiding you now, and how you dedicate your life to transforming people. Have you ever thought of doing that earlier on in life? And had you have any doubts whether you could even do it? Because I'm sure that, the concept of a coach may have popped up in your life earlier, because you've obviously had mentors and coaches and things to get you where you are in your high position job. But what was it for you that perhaps didn't let you start earlier? But where I'm getting at is, could it have been that maybe some people that are watching this are also maybe feeling the same way, and they're looking at you and they think like, wow, Daniel's this amazing coach, but I'm just doing this and that, and I'm not sure if any of these things are possible for me. So my question basically comes down to, did you in the past have insecurities about whether you could become a coach? And did those develop? Obviously they developed, and they make you who you are right now, but what would you basically say to your older self that may have entertained the thought of helping others in the degree that you do now? What would that be? So if you were to travel back, when maybe the first idea popped up of you being able to help others in the way that you do today, but then maybe then you had those doubts, what would you say to that Daniel?
See, what I would say, the first thing is follow your instinct and follow your heart.
Mhm.
Of course, I had these ideas like 4 years ago when I started, going into listening to these coaches, and I was so inspired.
Mhm.
And what I would say is a big change really in my life. I used to be an overthinker.
Mhm.
I used to be a perfectionist. I wanted to do
Yeah.
everything. But this Tjibaria was such, I realized it was such a waste of time and energy.
Mhm.
And sometimes you do things, you overdo things, but it doesn't work like that in the universe. It doesn't. Basically, you are meant to do certain things and follow what's, this inner voice which is in you, which is when you really listen, it's guiding you the right way. So trust yourself and start, take action.
Yeah.
Because you see, of course, over the last few years, I've been procrastinating, working for some other companies. I was not aligned with myself. I saw that.
Mhm.
And as soon as I initiated the change,
Mhm.
things changed so much. And so something I just like to add to this is even the way I live my life now.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about what I'm doing, but as
Yes.
well, tips I would have for the audience. It's so important to live in the present moment.
Mhm.
See, yesterday you can learn from
Yeah.
it. Sometimes, bad things, life happens, but afterwards, it's what do you make of that? And this we can change. This is within our control. Sometimes we perhaps to forgive. We cannot forget. When we forgive others, we forgive ourselves, and then we are open to receiving.
Yeah.
And it's as well about being grateful for our lives as well. What appreciating and kindness is very important. You see
Mhm.
the way we show up to the world, and to ourselves, and yeah. So these are these tips where when you start implementing this,
Mhm.
and really you trust yourself, in if things, your life changes
Yeah.
dramatically.
Trust yourself, guys. Trust yourself. Follow your heart. Go and live an aligned life. And one more thing that I wanted to say as well. I definitely had that a lot when before I went into business, was that I felt that it was cool to be a perfectionist. Ain't nothing cool about being a perfectionist, guys. It's not good because that's like that nice little, I don't know, like the thing that everyone hides behind. Like, no, I'm a perfectionist. I want to get it right, and it's like, yeah, yeah, that's good. No, it's not good. You're not helping anybody. You're not helping yourself, but you're definitely not helping anybody else by keeping everything with you. And there's no such thing as perfect as well. So even if you perfect it, you'll put it out there, and there's still things that you can learn and improve. So, like Daniel says, follow your heart. If you have a message to share, go and share it. Go make those changes, whatever it is that you want to do, because you got this. And surround yourself with people that will encourage and support you. And I highly recommend you guys to read Daniel's book and to be at his next workshop. That's going to make a big, big difference. So, guys, we've come to the end of this episode of Don't Procrastinate, Stop Procrastinating. Let's get procrastination out of our vocabulary already. And I also want to highly recommend you guys to follow Daniel. He is active at Daniel Kobryner everywhere. So you can basically go find him on all social media. Daniel, if you would be so kind to pop your handle after the episode in the comments so that people can start following you as well. And with that being said, I just want to ask one final tip of the day, Daniel, to get the audience to the next level at this episode today. Final tip.
Final tip is, every single one of you has unique abilities and talents, and and get them out, and use these abilities to help others. This is another thing, is when you are of service to others, when you help, when you and I'm having goosebumps, when I'm talking about this. It's like, wow, you are do things which are above yourselves as well, which are going to give you this sense of fulfillment, this sense of joy, this sense of, and yeah, the very last part of that would be the most authentic version of yourself. Really start appreciate yourself the way you are. And the more you do that, and it's not about what others think, it's not about what others say, it's about you again. And it's not about being selfish, but look after yourself as well. Look after your physical needs, your relationship needs, your spiritual needs. And the more you do that, the more you are aligned with yourself, the more you are going to shine to the world. So yes, these are my words: be fully authentic.
Love that. So, everybody, thank you very much for tuning in today. Make sure, if you haven't already, to go and click on the link and get Daniel's ebook and show up to his next workshop. Also, make sure to give him a follow because he posts lots of incredible inspiration on a daily basis. And it's just really, really beautiful to see the community that you are building, Daniel. So, Daniel, thank you so much for being here today. And everybody, make sure to hit the like button, make sure to subscribe, make sure to follow Daniel as well. And I can't wait to see you guys next time on another episode. But for now, thank you so much, Daniel, and have a beautiful rest of your Saturday, everybody. Bye.